Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us for today's Small Business Boot Camp. I'm Robert Theobald, Small Business Ombudsman and Vice President of Small Business Services at the Arizona Commerce Authority, and glad to be your host today for today's boot camp session. If you're new to the boot camp, one of the things we like to do is just ask that everybody post in the chat where you are turning in from. We appreciate knowing where you're from, just seeing where throughout the state and sometimes other states, other countries, we have our participants from. So we have William from Sleep Saver. Great to see you, William. Glad you're on with us. We have Tucson, we have Prescott Valley, Gilbert, Glendale, Yuma, Phoenix. Tempe, downtown Phoenix, Scottsdale, excellent. Tucson, more Tempe. All righty. Well, we want to thank all of you for joining us. Again, if you're just joining right now, please post in the chat where you're tuning in from. But we'll jump right in. The first thing we like to do really is thank our community partners. We could not do these webinars without them, without their time, their effort, and their expertise. They're all willing to give back to the small business community to help support small businesses, and we could not do these without them. One of the great things about the Small Business Boot Camp is it's designed to help small businesses prepare, plan, and grow. And we do that through our virtual webinars and occasionally some hands-on workshops. And all the virtual webinars, we record them, and we include those in our content library. There's no cost to access the content library, and you can find over 300 recorded webinars to help support your small business. And you can find the content library at the bottom of the bootcamp homepage. The ACA also has a number of other programs to help support small businesses. If you scan this QR code, it'll take you to our programs page, or you can find that at azcommerce.com/programs. But we have all these different areas that we can help support to help your business grow and expand and relocate potentially if needed. We also like to talk about our small business checklist. This is an awesome program to support small businesses that are getting started or expanding into new areas. And it consists of an interactive online checklist or tool that helps small business owners understand the commonly requested licensing, registration, and compliance requirements at the local, state, and federal level. There's a ton of information in the checklist, and we've used all that information to train our virtual assistant, Sally. And so you can go in and ask Sally questions, and she will respond with information from the checklist. And working with both of those together, you can get a lot of great information you need to help support starting and growing your business. A QR code will take you to the checklist page. Also, we want to just remind everybody that the Small Business Digital Academy for our spring cohort is currently accepting applications, but they close soon, I believe at the end of this week. And so please, if that's something that interests you, you can apply for it and we'll get you in that cohort. It's an online 3-week program where we bring in a number of different mentors of ours that help share their expertise, and it's focused on marketing pieces that can help you with your business. So a quick highlight of some of our upcoming sessions. On March 4th, we have our social media distribution roadmap, and then identifying your target market. So we've got a couple great sessions coming up. We're excited about those. But with that, we're going to jump into today's session. We have a returning speaker and an awesome marketing expert, Jeffrey Lynn Campbell from Blaze Experts. Lynn's done a number of webinars for us over the 5 years of the boot camp, and we appreciate her giving back of her time. And we love her energy first thing in the morning. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn over to Jeffrey Lynn. One last housekeeping piece is you'll notice at the bottom of your screen, there's both the chat and the Q&A. We like to use the Q&A for the questions you might have for Jeffrey Lynn. It helps us track those better, so that way if there's any interaction we need to have in the chat, those questions don't get lost. So with that, Jeffrey Lynn, it is all yours.
Okay. Let's see if this goes as smoothly as it did when we were practicing earlier. Because if anything's going to go wrong, it's technology. You got it, Robert? Can you see my screen? Awesome. All right, let's get started then. I want to make sure I can see my chat and my Q&A. Okay, here we go. So I am here today to talk to you about harnessing AI while honoring the human element. There is so much buzz around AI. It's been around for a hot minute. I remember when ChatGPT came out and everybody was like, ooh, you can't even get in. Ooh, you have to be one of the first ones. And you had to go in and sign up and pay to even have access to everything. It was this whole thing. Well, it's getting so much more prevalent in use. And one of the things that's super important is that we have to use it differently depending on our objectives. So when it comes to AI, we know we have to have a brand voice and we have to have that settled and all put together before we can teach AI how to replicate it. We have an opportunity to use it in process, engagement, automation. It makes our life and our work more simple when we don't have to go through and look at and build a spreadsheet and go through complicated algorithms. All kinds of tech tools can take our efficiency and our effectiveness to the next level, even when employing it in your creative. We all know that we've heard comparison is the thief of joy, but we're all comparing anyway. And when we take a look at how to combine AI with independent thought, we get optimal output. I will talk today about when it works, the who, the what, the how, the why, and where of when AI works. And then we'll talk about pitfalls, when it goes awry, and the ramifications of it. That should get us where we need to go. So why am I even qualified to be talking to you today? Robert gave me this great introduction. And yes, I love doing the small business boot camp. I have an undergraduate degree in journalism. That's that who, what, where, when, why, how thing. And then my MBA was in organizational and consumer behavior. So I really like to dig into what makes people tick. When you apply that with the use of AI, it kind of all comes together and you can figure out how to get things done to sell, to market. Because if you are doing marketing without selling, it's not working, right? It's still people that interact with you and your marketing messages. And more, we were just talking before the webinar, AI is doing that too through generative AI. And we'll talk about that too. It's the emotional hooks that still make people buy though. So we want to make sure that even in B2B, B2C, it isn't the organization that decides who to work with you. It isn't actually still an AI robot that makes the decision to write the check. So we still have to build relationships, and you can use AI to help you build the relationships to drive impact and resulting income. You have to remember your brand and marketing means nothing if it doesn't drive sales. So we always start, I'm a brand first agency, the 4 I's of brand. AI can help you with this. Cast an image, have influence, have impact in the world or your little slice of it, and then that drives income. And what else do you need to do? You need lead generation. Build awareness, awaken their interest in wanting to work with you, attract them to take action. Let's jump in. First of all, you have to position with personality. Every good brand has a logo, but not every logo has a good brand behind it. The things you need to know to get the most from your AI and your creative too. You have to know your target market. And as Robert said, 2 weeks from now, you're working on that. Your positioning, you need to know your archetype. Are you an innovation brand or are you an authority brand? What kind of brand are you? that will help you use emotional triggers to train your AI and your own consistency, your own brand personality, your essence, your style, your voice, mood, tone, language, all has to go towards your target market and through your positioning. So when you're setting up your vision, mission, values, you can align yours with your dream customer. And AI can actually help you determine who that dream customer is. You need to know your primal trigger. What is the essence of your brand's emotional hook? Why do people buy from you? If you can train your AI, your bot, to know that, then it's more helpful. And your hidden advantage, your secret weapon. What is that emotion that drives wanting more of what you have to offer? You have to remember to be specific when using AI. For instance, here's 2 examples. When you ask some stock photography to bring girl dancing with fire to you, you might get her. She's friendly. You would want to hang out with her. Or you might get her, and she's a little bit scary. It's that easy, even with if you ask for fireman without being super specific. You might get a college professor setting something on fire in front of the group, or you get the fireman you were looking for. But if you are more specific in telling AI what you're looking for, whether you're doing it for images or content or research or whatever, the more specific you can be, the better your results. So if you know it cold, your marketing will become consistent and it becomes easier to direct your AI initiatives and get results that are, oh yeah, instead of ho hum. Because really, if you were looking for a fireman, you probably didn't want this guy. And he's what came up first. So you just want to make sure that you're super specific. Now you have to remember, there are no real AI experts out there right now. It's all trial and error because things are evolving, they're growing, they're changing every single day. So you want to make sure you leverage the strengths and keep on top of it as it changes. The strengths now: logic, sequence, application of best practices, mining those best practices and then applying them, research, analysis, summaries. Summaries are really good. We've even noticed Google is 47% of their searches now. There's an AI summary at the top for you. So when evaluating generative AI like that, ask yourself, what is my point of view on AI at large? What am I uniquely solving with artificial intelligence? Can I execute the idea without employing AI? And how does it fit into my creative process? And lastly, before you deploy and improve and augment your reality with artificial intelligence, ask, what is your goal in the campaign, views, or impact? If you want views, you're going to go one way. If you want impact, you're probably going to go the other. So you want to decide how much you will augment your reality with artificial intelligence based on the objectives of that campaign. Now, as a creative shop, we pretty much tell everyone, look, we use artificial intelligence, but we use it in the ways we're telling you to, with help with brainstorming and ideation, with research, with summaries, that sort of thing. But this just came out from eMarketer and was all about, what are US marketers using generative AI for? More than once a month right now. Well, the top 3 you can see right here: writing, content creation, design, and then the others down below. Well, as a creative agency who employs a bunch of real humans to do the creative, we always think that the original ideas, the innovation, the invention, and the thought leadership come from the humans, because where is your unique value proposition if everyone's out there using the same AI tools? Where do the original ideas come from? When it comes to content, you want to think of the quote by Oliver Wendell Holmes. It was something like, many ideas grow better when transplanted into another mind than in the one where they sprung up. So if you use AI to give you that original impulse to spark something, to get you thinking about other things, then that helps with the brainstorming, that helps with the ideation, and that can even help you with thought leadership. So there's an argument for craft-centered artificial intelligence use. It's more about augmentation than it is automation. I would argue that you want your artificial intelligence to be your assistant, not your replacement, at least at this point in the game. So what do I want you to do? Embrace the tech. If you state the objective and determine the best use of your AI, you can use it and really, really help augment the reality of your authenticity. The things that need to and probably will be normalized with AI use in the near future as we embrace that technology is that people will begin to lead with transparency. Brands will be upfront about AI use. Policy might not dictate AI disclosure. In fact, policy is probably a little way off. So you want to be thinking about leading with transparency and saying, how much am I using AI? Is this fully generated by AI? That sort of thing. There's a backlash when AI is used obviously, but not admittedly, because there's a kind of a look to it that you notice. But millions of dollars have been wasted because of critical viewership and consumer feedback saying, oh, well, you're just using AI for that. That's not original. So you want to be careful about that. Transparency isn't woven into current best practices. And like I said, it won't be in policy anytime soon. So really, you need to really be thinking about that. And then I already said it, and I'll say it again, augmentation over automation. Even with human first creative, AI is useful for simulating audience reaction based on a demographic, an age group, an interest area. So you can get feedback from it, augment your reality, and figure out exactly what's working, what's not working, what's kind of working. I almost think that the days of A/B testing are going to go by the wayside because it won't be needed. You can feed that to AI and say, which is going to work better if I'm talking to this person in this way to try to sell this thing. Here's all the information, A or B. And AI will tell you before you ever have to spend any money advertising to do it. Now, even as you embrace the tech, I would urge you to keep it at arm's length. What does that mean exactly? Well, while some marketers are confident in generative AI's rapid content creation potential, others think it creates content that looks and feels like it was made by AI. Generative AI is generally a little unpopular with ad creatives and some savvy consumers, but its ever-increasing fidelity and cost-saving potential means that brands will eventually use it a lot and then maybe even opt not to disclose its use at all. As it improves, that will be easier to do. The places that we would say not to use it, and we'll get into this more in the pitfalls, content creation, graphic design, and video, because you can still see the difference. Especially think about all the headlines you see out there right now, everywhere from a blog to Reddit to a LinkedIn newsletter. Blah, 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 colon, blah, blah, blah. Every time you see that, it's AI generated. It's one of those things that's been tested. Ooh, we can put a headline and a subhead all together in the same place. So I urge you to edit that if you are using AI to generate your content, edit that afterwards and get rid of that what would we call it? It's not a iambic pentameter, but that kind of rhythm that goes with that kind of AI headline because it's obvious to people who are using it all the time. So many of them will feel like you're cheating. Absolutely, use it to mine all the information, but maybe go through with a soft touch edit afterwards. So, how do you use it to integrate it? Well, it comes back to that objective. What do you want more? If impact is more important, that individual original thought leadership will be at the forefront of your creative. That keeps artificial intelligence in the backseat where content generation and design is concerned. But if influence is way more important to you right now, there is a formulaic efficiency to the dissemination of AI generated content. It's useful, and in fact, it could be more effective if you're being very specific with the prompts you're giving. That's why all over your Instagram feed, you're seeing people selling prompts on how to get where you want to go with AI. Remember those 4 I's of brand: image, influence, impact, and income. If marketers are aiming for a lot of views, generative AI creative may be the way to go because you can get consensus without asking the actual audience. It can churn out content at a high volume. It can make sure that you're posting every single day about something new. But if you're going for impact, human first creative might resonate better because it offers consumers something that was put together with your mind map. Something that AI cannot do yet is connect dots that really don't exist. The effectiveness of your AI use depends on where you mine the information, who you're delivering it to, and how it is to be delivered. For instance, if you carefully craft a prompt asking the tool to generate a new blog post about XYZ subject using only your own website and your documents on Google Drive, or maybe even a specific document as the source material, and you remind it to use your brand style guidelines, your brand voice, mood, tone, language to craft the blog post, and you're prepared to take a moment, read through it, edit for when it meanders off the chosen path or makes the colon headline, then your use of artificial intelligence could very well be an effective tool for efficiently managing your content generation. So what about your search engine optimization and generative AI engine optimization? Not only in generating your own content as a marketing strategy, as creative, as things that you want to put out in the world, but also in procurement of people coming to your website. AI-driven search tools like Perplexity and Deep Research are reshaping online shopping and SEO. They're challenging traditional product review sites. They're pushing publishers to optimize for generative AI. While Google SGE integrates AI into its existing search and display model, tools like Perplexity and Deep Research, they offer end-to-end shopping assistance. It is probably closer than we think, where online directories and all of that shopping assistance goes by the wayside. Because from initial research through price comparison to one-click buying, AI can get you to your destination and what you actually want to buy without having to do all that research and search consumer reports and search everywhere. GEO is what it sounds like. It's an attempt to create digital copy that AI search engines will use when serving up results. SEO, GEO, fundamentally different optimization strategies. And we will start to have to employ both of those as we're building websites. While SEO optimizes traditional search engines and provides users with links in response to their queries, instead, GEO will optimize content for AI systems to synthesize and prioritize the information, generating quick, comprehensive responses. So instead of meta tags and content with keywords, we'll be looking at clear, contextually relevant content so that the AI algorithms can generate accurate responses. The future of search is inevitable. It's changing. It'll be here before we know it. And as Google integrates those AI summaries to more searches and tools like Perplexity, SearchGPT, and Deep Research gain traction, publishers and marketers will need to adapt their content strategies. Traditional SEO will continue to be important, but success in gaining referral traffic online will increasingly depend on content that AI systems can synthesize. So be aware, watch the trend, and make sure you're addressing it on your own digital properties. If, though, as I was saying, you are connecting dots that have not been connected before, if you see things differently than others see it, if you spend a great deal of time blending what you know into learning more, daydreaming, doodling, engaging in deep thought, your human element is likely to lead you to great success in your marketing message if you lean into your own thought leadership, using your human intellect and something that AI cannot do and not use, which is intuition. Then you can use it to augment it by being so specific in your prompts that AI helps you get where you want to do. Maybe saying it more succinctly, maybe summarizing it better, maybe adding research to back up your theory. That kind of help really makes your human element even more effective because you're using what you don't know to augment what you do. So pitfalls. This photo right here that I'm showing you was an example of we were playing around with my creative director and we said, okay, we want a fit person, not specific enough, a fit person journaling. So it took a guy's body and put a fit woman's head on it and then put them in front of, I don't know, some blueprints and then turned their thumb into a pen. So that is one, that's an example of a pitfall that you can find if you are using AI in the wrong way. Putting this out there, people will be like, what the heck is that? That is obviously not done by one of your designers, Jeffrey. That's exactly right. What are some of the other pitfalls? Plagiarism and copyright infringement. That is the number one. AI is mining everything else that's already published out there. And by the way, if it's on a website, it's copyrighted. So everything that's going out is pulling it all together, putting it together for you. So you want to make sure that it's not a straight up copy paste, or you could be in trouble for copyright infringement. Since there are no policies around AI yet, that's one of those things that you should be concerned about. Those intellectual property rights are completely taken care of when you use human oversight in your AI-driven creative. Do the searches, make sure that it's original, make sure that you have edited it so that it's exactly what you wanted to say, what you wanted to mean. AI-generated content, like in this example, it's sometimes unsettling. AI-generated imagery, graphics, video, it often features that glossy, kind of uncanny veneer that is characteristic of AI-generated media. It kind of looks like a realistic video game. So it's kind of a dead giveaway. And then I told you already about the glaring headline giveaway, a statement followed by a colon with a clarifying subhead right in the headline. Companies that are releasing AI-generated ad campaigns boast of being ahead of the technological curve, but they also face negative feedback from consumers and fellow creatives. Toys R Us debuted an ad last June that they said was made entirely of OpenAI's text-to-video tool Sora. The 66-second spot depicted the company's founder as a child experiencing a dream that inspired the brand's giraffe mascot. The CMO of Toys R Us at the time told CNN the ad was created primarily using text prompts, but it also included a little post-production editing and featured an original score. The critical reception of it was crazy. The backlash online was nuts. It drew harsh criticism, not only from ad creatives, but also from consumers, from their own customers who were saying, you just tried to cut corners. You just did it as cheap as you could, and you didn't hire real people to make this. So you just have to be a little bit careful. Okay, I have a question in the Q&A I'm going to address real fast. I'm curious to know what is the difference between ChatGPT and Microsoft Copilot? That's a great question. I'm not an engineer. I have no idea. I do know much of it is based upon the original open AI that was developed so that without patent, so that people could use it more than anything. And ChatGPT was built based upon that open AI. Knowing Microsoft, they're pretty good at, I mean, over the years, not reinventing the wheel, just making it better. So I would bet that it's based upon the same OpenAI principle, but with Microsoft's better, faster, more philosophy tied into it. But again, that is all speculation because I am totally not an engineer. Okay. The best use of AI, plan the work and then work the plan. If you are using it for targeting, if you are using it for research, if you are using it for brainstorming, ideation, if you're using it for data analysis, if you're using it for search engine optimization, GEO, if you are using it to help you edit to be concise, to be to take your whole essay and put it into a tagline, for instance, then AI is really good at coming up with that kind of thing. Then when you work the plan, the general consensus is that instead of fighting AI, we embrace it and keep it at arm's length. Keep the human element, layer on the artificial intelligence to optimize output, and then augment the reality so that if you can use your human element, your thought leadership, your independent thought, your way of connecting the dots, then you also can layer in everything that artificial intelligence can do to optimize your output. If anybody else has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeffrey Lynn. If anybody post up in the Q&A or in the chat if you have questions. We did have one the question about Copilot and ChatGPT. Giselle, who's attending, is also a marketing expert. Will be presenting with us soon at a boot camp. Mentioned that Copilot uses ChatGPT's Pro version. So thank you, Giselle.
Thanks, Giselle.
Any other questions for Jeffrey? That was a great presentation. We've done a number of. I see Michelle Britton has her hand raised. Michelle, just if you have a question, please post that in the Q&A. We've done a number of things with AI, and AI is coming about. There's lots of things, but I love how you included keeping that personal human aspect to it. Even though that picture was a little creepy that you shared.
It is.
It gives a good example. I've done searches with AI, and sometimes the answers are just not right. It creates some weird stuff in there. And that's also when you look at when I mentioned our checklist and we have our virtual assistant, Sally, we only train Sally on our content from the checklist. And so it's not pulling random stuff off the internet on starting a business in Arizona. It's pulling the stuff that we've reviewed and vetted over many years. Sam asked, what is the best way to train video AI, or what is the best video AI that you can train, provide reference and training, if you know?
Yeah, that's a great question, Sam. I will tell you, and I am fully transparent in all with working with all of our clients. We do not use AI in our creative. We use real humans. We only use it for those other things, which is why I was asked to kind of talk about augmenting the human element. But what we have found is the text edit was the text edit works really well to say really specifically, what do I want, but also give examples. This kind of video is what I want. Even if you're using stock video or a video on YouTube, for example, the more you can narrow down where it's pulling its information from, even Sora or one of those, the better your results. So if you get very specific in your text outline, this is what I want, this is what I need you to put together, use this footage, use this and that, and we want it to look like this, feel like this, use this colors, use these fonts, that kind of thing, then it trains it to get better and better and better.
Excellent. We got some good questions in here. So the first one I want to ask is from William. It says, is it okay to create an email to properly word what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, but I think it's better to go to a firm that can do it for you. Absolutely. Especially if you wrote everything out and it's thought leadership and it's a train of thought, kind of just a brain dump, right? Then you can say, you can ask AI to create an email. Even chat GPT is good at this, right? Create an email, give me, but be really specific. You have to say everything like, give me a subject line that's going to encourage clicks. Give me a first paragraph summary. Give me links to my own content where people can go to read more. Give me, use it my voice and my brand personality, and here are the documents to reference for that. And then say this succinctly in 200 words. Generally speaking, when you do that, you'll refine it, you'll refine it, you'll refine it. And probably the third or fifth rendition, you'll have something that feels like you, that has said what you would love it to say, but so that your target market, through the lens of them, will understand it. Whereas you're so close to it, sometimes you're using insider verbiage or things like that, so that you can tell it to, is this a sales email or is it informational? Is it educational? That kind of thing. So absolutely. I think a large number of small businesses are using AI that way, and that is not taking the place of the human element and your own thought leadership. That is just making it easier for people to understand.
Excellent. We have another really good question from Tammy, and it says, do the marketing images found through AI search remove any copyrighted items?
So there's this common belief among creatives that if you change 30% of what is out there, then you have avoided copyright infringement. And that is a total myth. It tends to keep you from being in the sights of people who might want to protect their intellectual property and proprietary work, but it's not actually a law. It has no legal basis. It's just one of those things that has been accepted by the creative community. So realistically, You're much better off. So if you say you're writing a book and you are referencing a work that's already published, if you are, less than 200 words and you're not replicating it and you're using it to illustrate a point you're making, which is thought leadership, and you source it and you link to it so they can buy that one too, you're generally safe. So the thing is, there's so many things like the checklists that Robert was talking about for small business. There's so many ways to avoid the pitfall, but really the best way, write for permission. And we all like to ask forgiveness, not permission, but that's the only way to really stay safe when it comes to copyright infringement, because as AI gets more and more and more used, it's going to be more and more and more difficult for people to protect their own intellectual property. And you, as business owners, especially if you're content creators, your thought leadership is part of your unique value proposition. It's what you do better and different than anybody else. So I would say when you go into, even if you're in like Adobe stock and it says generated by AI, if AI in that instance took two different copyrighted materials, especially if it were, a current public image, a public personality or something, then I would stay very far away from it.
Is there a prompt you can do to ask for non-copyrighted images? Would that even
Yes.
work? Okay.
Well, and absolutely. And when you're searching, Robert, in like Adobe stock or something, they've already supposedly done that work for you. So they're giving you royalty-free images. But all the time I have people go, oh yeah, can you make this brochure for me? I found this image on Google. I'm like, yeah, no. If it's up on Google, it's doesn't mean it's public domain. So I think you're better to err on the side of caution. And to your point, if you do a prompt that says use no copyrighted images in creating this image, or if you're saying use only images from Envato elements or Adobe stock or Shutterstock or whatever, then generally speaking, you might be safer, but you better have that royalty-free subscription from where you're getting them from to protect yourself. Because I always think it's way better to protect yourself than leave yourself exposed.
So Bill asks, how do you know if you're copying or you're copyright infringing at that AI suggests? So
How do you know?
if you didn't take it, somebody else did. It's not yours.
It's not yours. There's a chance, right? Yeah, marketing always lands better when it is original, like when it's a photo you took. So if you took 4 photos and you liked the way the angle was in this one and the background in this one and the way your face looked in that one and the way your hair was in that one, and you put those 4 together, you're good. You took the photos it came from, you used AI to put it all together, you should be fine. And then, I scale back that weird tinny look that AI gives it and put a filter on it. But you're fine. It's when you're finding them somewhere else, it gets a little scary. So always, if you're using it to augment your own original work, you're pretty much safe. It's when you're just asking it to go out and pull together all of these different things from all over the internet and write you something that you might get in trouble. Also, it might not be true because, everything on the internet's true.
Excellent. Well, we don't have any other questions. So with that, we will give everybody a little bit more time back in their day. And wrap this up a little bit early, but we want to thank everybody for participating. We want to thank Jeffrey Lynn for her great presentation, great energy at 9 a.m. in the morning to get us going. So thank you very much. If anybody has any questions, Jeffrey Lynn's information's in the slide deck. It will be posted in the content library later today or tomorrow with the recording as well, so you can access it there. But again, I want to thank everybody for being with us, and we hope to see you next Tuesday on our next boot camp. Until then, everybody have a great week, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.